Well, it's been 49 years since the 1976 Soweto uprising, and several events are being held across the country today to commemorate it. Nqobile Madlala is in Potchefstroom for the government's official Youth Day celebration. Meanwhile, Nqobile is in Durban, where the MK Party is hosting its own event, expected to also launch their Youth League taking place later on today. Well, let's go to this story now. Deputy President Paul Mashatile is expected to deliver the keynote address at the official event in Potchefstroom. Nqobile Madlala is there for us this morning. Nqobile, tell us about the turnout so far.
Well, we have seen officials coming in, Eldrin. This, of course, is a very important time because they come into the school to unveil what we showed you a little earlier on, which is a sports field, which is supposed to assist young people. But this also speaking to the various issues that are faced by the municipality, especially within excess in terms of recreational sites. So we are, of course, expecting that the deputy will make his way also here in a couple of minutes to go. But I want to bring in the DM to speak to us, Deputy Minister, to speak to us about what is expected, especially today, because it's such an important day in the history of South Africa.
Indeed, today, of course, being the 16th of June, this day is a very important day for the history of South Africa, where we honor the sacrifices of young people in 1976. That really was challenging the imposition of Africans as the medium of instruction, but also the broader systematic apartheid government. But it's also a day, important day in this democratic period that we have, an important day that is a clarion call on how we empower youth, how do we recommit, and how do we come together to deal with the challenges of today. Issues around access to education have improved, no doubt, but quality education is one key in terms of a kind of improvement in what we do. The biggest challenge that we're also dealing with, two of them which are one of the greatest challenge for our country, the issue of economic participation, the issue of unemployment. Young people are affected with over 60% of unemployment rate, and we've got 3.2 million young people who are neither in employment, in education, and neither in training. And these are some of the big issues. The third issue that I think is quite key, addressing violence, gender-based violence, and social inequality, is what those dynamics that we have to deal with, that we are confronted with today.
DM, how do we win in addressing these issues? Because these are problems that we see every day. We see the stats coming in, whether it's GBV, whether it's unemployment, but how do we then win?
We win by working together. The first thing is that our youth development policy is very clear and instructive in terms of dealing with education, employment, as well as social issues. All parties, all society must come together, which means that government can't do this alone. The first thing is about programs that addresses employment. We are not going to speak about employment just as a typical employment and getting young people into the workplace. We need a systematic, ongoing, consistent transition from education and translating it to a smooth workplace transition. The smooth one means that we have to look at pathways, whether in terms of securing jobs or whether in terms of self-employment, creating jobs. And young people have got potential, and young people have to be tested in those potential. It's about enabling environment. What are we doing in all sectors? One of the biggest issues our statistician general has raised is that what are the economic contributing and growth in our country. The first economic growth is finance sector. Though it's not the biggest job creator, but it's an enabling sector. But you've got other sectors like agriculture, construction, and so forth, which are a priority. So we have to plug intentionally, as part of our transformation agenda, young people into these sectors. The second part, it's really about how do we ensure that young people are trained, young people's well-being, development, and even young people's mental health is correct and it's also affirmed. You cannot be in a society that consistently is unequal, a society that discriminates, that violates, and you don't actually realize the damage it has on the well-being of young people. Consistently, boy child, which we have to battle with the dynamics that they're experiencing, the girl child, that we have to battle with the dynamics that are... So all of this well-being and the wellness of young people is quite key. So we win by coming together and uniting young people as a whole.
Specifically today, what are you then saying to young people, and what is it that you're implementing today?
No, indeed. I mean, we are here in Matlosane district, in local municipality that is quite important, that has significant challenges, recreational issues. Young people are not necessarily active participating. But this is a situation that we find everywhere across the country. So we are commemorating here, led by Deputy President Paul Mashatile, who's going to lead us. First, we're going to launch and hand over the recreational facility, which is a sporting facility, to say that this sector also matters. Sports, arts, and culture is one of the economic sectors that we must never ignore, like all other strategic sectors like science and technology and so forth, but also utilizing and ensuring that young people are active. Secondly, we'll move into a stadium, of course, looking at different ways of commemorating, also speak to exposing young people to opportunities. While the key message or keynote address will be delivered by Deputy President, but all other ministers and all other sectors, we've got our National Youth Development Agency that's here. We've got strategic partners, SETAs, that are here to actually bring opportunities to young people.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, Deputy Minister here. Aldrin, Deputy Minister, touching on various issues that are affecting the society at large. And I suppose today is the day to unpack that, especially for the youth, and how to go forward and ensuring that the youth has a better future in this country.